Yeule, Softscars album review. Let's chat about it. Hey friends, what's going on? John here from What's Spinning, here tonight to chat about this latest album from Yeule, singer, songwriter based out of Singapore. They've been at it for a few years now, mostly due to the success of their debut album, Serotonin 2, which I missed at the time. I did not listen to until much later, but I'm kind of kicking myself that I did because I actually think it's a really great piece of glitch pop and ambient pop. But somehow, over all that, it was Yeule's human touch and songwriting to these genres that really did captivate me. And a lot of this did transfer over to Yeule's second album, Glitch Princess, came out last year, and a lot of people loved the hell out of this thing. And I thought it had a lot of good ideas, but I wasn't as into it as many others. However, the one thing that I did praise and could not help but love was the songwriting once again. I did think that was really impressive, and this time around I said to myself, I do really want to review the new Yeule album, and so much so that when the singles were dropping, I decided to go into this album blind, and lo and behold, I think this is a lot better than Glitch Princess. XWX starts this album off, and instantly I feel like Yeule just sounds so much more comfortable. I love how direct this is and how bright and colorful this track gets. It's got a little bit of a noisy riff too. And Yeule just sounds so animated on this track. I love the screams. Great touch there. There's moments here of just pure noise and wildness, but there's also moments here that are genuinely gorgeous. It's a hell of a way to start the album. Sulky Baby is really good too. This one continues to just throw so many nods to the old school 90s alternative rock sound and do it in a really good way. Like, this genuinely sounds like some lost, uncovered 90s gem. The dreamy atmosphere is just so easy to get lost in. A lot of this track is. I love the guitar tones. I love Yeule's very innocent vocal performance. It's a brilliant single. Maybe my favorite track here. This album's title track, Softscars, also really good. This takes things way back into that ambient pop and glitch pop direction. And I'm not opposed to that at all because this track is dreamy, it's surreal, and Yeule's performance is fantastic. Once again, I feel like one of Yeule's biggest strengths is the way that they bring in this human touch and emotion to these very robotic and cold genres. The synths are playful, the production's really fun, this is great. For UI 12, honestly, on the other hand, this is one of the most wonky and out there tracks here. I love the winding riff that we get in Yeule's performance, which is much more subdued. It's twisted and alien sounding, but it's also really sweet and inviting. I feel like you could say that about a bulk of this album. And, I do have to tip my cap to just the amount of risks that Yeule takes on this album, as well as just how many genres are on display here. Sounds really good, though. Dazies, too. I mean, the wailing guitars and the wall of sound that we get on this track, it's some basically shoegaze stuff. It adds just a little oomph to this album, especially when Yeule's vocals remain the dreamiest of the dreamy. Now, overall, I would take this over Glitch Princess any day of the week. I think it's a much more consistent and solid and interesting album. But there are still some, moments where Yeule needs to grow. There's some awkward moments, most likely on tracks like Ghosts. This is a stripped down ballad, the first that we get here, and I do commend the effort. But it is one of the more clunky and awkward tracks here, especially on an album which greatest strength is bringing a sense of human emotion to these very icy cold genres. This does not give me the same feeling. I could say a lot of the same things about A Fish in the Pool. This track actually starts off really nice. It's very beautiful and ambient, but emotion-wise, this track is kind of limp. It's fine, it's nice while it's on, but I certainly do not remember it. And a lot of the same things go for Inferno. This track actually starts out pretty stunning. It's a lush, warm instrumental with a very subtle beat. It's definitely interesting and on the more experimental side. But then once Yeule pops in, my goodness, does things get really awkward really fast. As a matter of fact, Yeule's vocal performance is by far the worst that we get here. It's really awkward and clunky. Borderline obnoxious. Yeah, it's bad. It's the worst track here. But if you're looking for some very fresh sounding glitch pop and art pop with some straight up 90s alternative rock and dream pop and shoegaze thrown in, give this a listen because there's so much good material here. Like software update for a stripped down ballad, look no further because this track is great. Vocal wise, Yeule has not sounded better on this entire album, and lyrically this is the sweetest, most tender, most direct songwriting you're gonna find. It's just so full of love and passion, surprisingly so. Even though it's been a great strength for this album, Yeule does continue to bring the heat there. And on top of that, the fascinating production and the continued use of different genres, it's impressive. Bloodbunny is the most straightforward track here. It is just Yeule and a very subtle beat. Thankfully, though, we get some very sweet, endearing, very cute lyrics that are just, oh god, so heartwarming. Yes, it's very straightforward, but there is a sincerity to this track that I cannot overlook. Also, with this very minimal, icy beat, the fact that Yeule could bring any human emotion to this track is a feat in itself. Cybermeat, initially I was not into, but I just cannot say no to just how upbeat and carefree and sweet and airy this track is. It's so much fun. It's so cute. It's got a great beat. It's got a great energy to it too. And Aphex Twin Flame, great song title, as a finale, is the best ballad on this entire album. It is so impressive. And I have to reiterate, it is very stripped down. It is mostly just Yeule and a guitar, but my goodness, the human emotion and the genuine feels behind this track, very commendable. It ends up being the most human sounding and most complete thought here, and more importantly, ties up almost every theme of this album, and that doesn't happen too often. It's a great finale, and Yeule, by the end of this thing, sounds on top of the world. So yeah, with this album, I completely get the hype. Yeah, I did enjoy the Serotonin 2 project, but I wasn't as into Glitch Princess as a lot of others, but this album takes the cake. This is so much more of a consistent, interesting album with fascinating production, a great array of different genres and different nods. It's very impressive, and the fact that Yeule can bring this much great songwriting and human emotion and genuine feels to these very icy, unforgiving genres, often very robotic genres, is a feat in itself, and I'm very happy to hear that. I'm feeling a light 8 on this album, but let me know what you all think down below. If you liked the video, be sure to give us a like, give us a subscribe, and let me know down below what you would like for me to chat about in the future. And until next time, have a great day, friends.